The rain was relentless, mirroring the storm inside me. I sat in my car, parked across the street from the Golden Spoon, a quaint little ice cream parlor in Providence, Rhode Island. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. I am Alistair, 46, and until a week ago I thought I had a perfect life. I work as a software engineer, a job I enjoy because it's logical and predictable, everything my life currently isn't. I met Bronte 8 years ago at a friend's wedding. She was radiant, a vision in a simple blue dress, and her laughter was like music. We fell in love quickly, a whirlwind romance that culminated in a beautiful wedding on the beach. We bought a house with a white picket fence, a dog named Winston, and settled into a comfortable routine. Or so I thought. The first sign was subtle. Bronte started working late more often. She's a marketing manager, so occasional late nights weren't unusual, but it became a pattern. Just trying to impress the new boss, she'd say with a tired smile. I wanted to believe her. I loved her, trusted her implicitly. But a gnawing feeling of unease began to creep into my mind. I noticed she was more protective of her phone, always angled away from me when she was texting, and she'd jump if I entered the room unexpectedly while she was on it. Then there were the changes in her appearance. New clothes, a different perfume, and a sudden interest in working out. It was like she was trying to impress someone, and the thought that it wasn't me was a cold blade twisting in my gut. Last week, the dam broke. I came home early from work with a terrible migraine. I called out, hoping to find Bronte at home, maybe watch a movie and relax. The house was silent. I went upstairs and saw her phone on the nightstand. It was unlocked, displaying a text message. My heart pounded in my chest as I picked it up. The message was from Caspian. Can't wait to see you tonight. The Golden Spoon at 8, the world seemed to tilt on its axis. The Golden Spoon, it was Bronte's favorite place. We'd gone there on our first date. It was our asterisk place. The rage that surged through me was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. I wanted to scream, to break things, to confront her immediately. But a part of me, a small, desperate part, wanted to be wrong. Maybe it was a work thing. Maybe Caspian was a client. Decided to wait. I needed to see for myself. So here I am sitting in my car watching the Golden Spoon. The rain is coming down harder now, blurring the neon sign in the window. It's 7:50 p.m. My hands are shaking, but I force myself to breathe. I have to be calm. I have to see this through. At 8:02 p.m., Bronte's car pulled up. My breath hitched in my throat. She got out, looking stunning in a red dress. She smiled, a genuine, happy smile that I hadn't seen in months. My stomach churned. She walked inside. I waited, my eyes glued to the entrance. 5 minutes later, a man walked in. He was tall, handsome, with dark hair and a confident swagger. I didn't recognize him, but something about him made my blood boil. He walked straight to Bronte's table, leaned down, and kissed her. Not a friendly peck, but a deep, passionate kiss. The kind of kiss she used to give me. That was it. The confirmation I dreaded, the truth I couldn't deny. My world shattered into a million pieces. I felt a physical pain in my chest, a crushing weight that stole my breath. I wanted to run, to disappear, to escape the reality of what I was seeing. But I forced myself to stay, to watch, to absorb the full extent of her betrayal. They sat at the table, laughing and talking, holding hands like teenagers in love. They looked happy, happier than I'd seen Bronte in a long time. It was like I was watching a movie, a horrible, gut-wrenching movie about my own life. I couldn't take it anymore. I started the car, put it in gear, and drove away. The rain poured down, washing away the tears that streamed down my face. I drove aimlessly for hours, not knowing where I was going, not caring. The pain was overwhelming, a constant, throbbing ache. How could she do this to me? How could she betray our love, our marriage, our life together? I replayed every moment of the past few months in my head, searching for clues, for signs I had missed. It all made sense now. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the new clothes, the gym. It was all for him. Finally, I pulled over to the side of the road, exhausted and emotionally drained. I needed to think, to plan. I couldn't just let this go. I couldn't let her get away with destroying my life. But what could I do? Confront her? Beg her to stay? No, I deserved better than that. I deserved respect, honesty, and loyalty. And she had taken it all away. I decided on a plan. It wouldn't be easy, but it would be worth it. I would expose her. I would make her pay for what she had done. I would reclaim my life. The next morning, I went to see a lawyer. I explained everything, showed him the text message, and told him about my plan. He listened patiently, then gave me some advice. "The best revenge is a life well lived," he said. "Don't let her bitterness consume you. Focus on yourself, your happiness, and your future." I appreciated his advice, but I couldn't let it go. Not yet. I needed closure, and I needed to make sure Bronte understood the consequences of her actions. First, I hired a private investigator. I needed to know everything about Caspian. His name was Caspian Thorne, and he was a successful architect. He was married with 2 children. My stomach twisted with anger. He was destroying 2 families, not just one. The investigator provided me with photos and videos of Bronte and Caspian together. They were blatant, affectionate, and completely disrespectful. I compiled everything into a neat little package, ready to be delivered. Next, I confronted Bronte. I waited for her at home, sitting in the living room with a glass of whiskey. When she walked in, she looked surprised to see me. "Alistair, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice laced with nervousness. "We need to talk," I said, my voice cold and hard. She sat down, avoiding my gaze. "About what?" I placed the package on the coffee table. "About this," I said. She looked at the package, then back at me, her eyes widening with fear. "What is it?" "Open it," I said. She hesitated, then slowly reached for the package. She opened it, and her face drained of color as she saw the photos and videos. Tears welled up in her eyes. "Alistair, I can explain," she said, her voice trembling. "Explain what, Bronte? Explain how you betrayed me. Explain how you lied to me. Explain how you destroyed our marriage," I asked, my voice rising with each question. "I don't know what to say," she stammered. "Then don't say anything," I said. "Just listen. I know about Caspian. I know about the golden spoon. I know everything." She started to cry, her body shaking with sobs. "I'm so sorry, Alistair. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did, Bronte," I said. "You hurt me more than you can imagine." "Was unhappy," she said. "I felt like we were stuck in a rut. I needed something more. You cheated on me. That's your solution. To betray the man who loved you, who would have done anything for you?" I asked. She didn't answer. She just sat there crying. "I want you to leave," I said. "I want you out of my house, out of my life. I am filing for divorce." She looked up at me, her eyes filled with despair. "Please, Alistair, don't do this. I'll do anything to make it right." "Too late, Bronte," I said. "You made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences." I stood up and walked out of the room, leaving her there, alone with her tears and her regret. The next day, I sent the package to Caspian's wife. I didn't do it out of malice, but out of a sense of justice. She deserved to know the truth. She deserved to make her own informed decision about her marriage. I moved out of our house and into a small apartment downtown. It was lonely, but it was also liberating. I was free from Bronte's lies, free from her betrayal. I started focusing on myself. I went back to the gym, started taking cooking classes, and reconnected with old friends. It wasn't easy. There were days when the pain was overwhelming, when I missed Bronte terribly. But I refused to let her destroy me. I refused to let her define my future. A few weeks later, I received a call from Caspian's wife. She was furious, devastated, and heartbroken. She thanked me for telling her the truth and said she was filing for divorce. I felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that I had brought justice to at least one innocent person. But I also felt a pang of sadness, knowing that 2 families had been destroyed because of Bronte and Caspian's selfish actions. Life went on. The divorce was finalized. I sold the house and moved to a new city, hoping for a fresh start. I started dating again, cautiously, afraid of being hurt again. But I also remained optimistic, believing that there was still love and happiness in my future. One evening, I was at a local coffee shop in Portland, Oregon, working on my laptop when a woman approached me. "Excuse me," she said. "Are you Alistair?" I looked up, surprised. "Yes, I am," I said. "Miriam," she said. "I am Caspian's ex-wife." My heart skipped a beat. I stood up, unsure of what to say. "I just wanted to thank you," she said, "for telling me the truth, for giving me the courage to leave him." "You're welcome," I said. "I am glad I could help." "It wasn't easy," she said. "But I'm happier now than I've ever been. I'm finally free." We talked for a while, sharing our stories of betrayal and heartbreak. We found solace in each other's company, a sense of understanding that only 2 people who had experienced the same pain could share. As we said goodbye, Miriam smiled at me. "I hope you find happiness, Alistair," she said. "You deserve it." I smiled back. "Thank you, Miriam," I said. "I hope you do too." As I walked away, I realized that maybe, just maybe, I was finally on the path to healing. Bronte's betrayal had been a devastating blow, but it hadn't broken me. It had made me stronger, more resilient, and more determined to find happiness. I had lost a wife, a home, and a life I thought I wanted. But I had also gained something invaluable, a new perspective, a new sense of self, and a new hope for the future. The rain had stopped, and the sun was starting to peek through the clouds. It was a new day, a new beginning, and I was ready to embrace it. Years passed. I met someone new, a kind, intelligent, and compassionate woman named Genevieve. We fell in love slowly and cautiously, building a relationship based on trust and honesty. We got married in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. It was everything I had ever wanted, a loving, supportive, and fulfilling partnership. One day I received a message from an unknown number. It was a photo of Bronte. She looked older, tired, and worn. She was standing in front of the golden spoon, holding a small paper cup. The message read, "I miss you." I stared at the photo, my heart aching with a mixture of pity and resentment. I thought about responding, telling her that I had moved on, that I was happy, but I didn't. I deleted the message and blocked the number. She was a chapter in my life that was closed, a wound that had finally healed. I didn't need her anymore. I had found my own happiness, my own peace. And that was all that mattered. I looked at Genevieve, who was sitting beside me on the couch, reading a book. I smiled, grateful for her love, her support, and her unwavering belief in me. I leaned over and kissed her, whispering, "I love you." She smiled back, her eyes sparkling with happiness. "I love you too, Alistair," she said. And in that moment, I knew that I had truly found my happily ever after. Bronte's betrayal had been a painful lesson, but it had also led me to something far greater. A love that was real, a love that was true, and a love that would last a lifetime.